So, what do you do if you have a module that does quadraphonic sound and there's not enough space to put the speakers? You make a helmet, you know, a helmet. Like this. The poltergeist makes the sound spin around, all around. We will be making a few kits of these, so people that do not have 4 speakers at home can make them themselves and be like very trippy on the couch with the modular, or in the kitchen, or walking through the garden. It's gonna be so much fun.
Hey, it's me again, Christian from Coma Electronic. We're at NAMM 2015 and I'm going to show you the latest product that we announced. It's the Coma Complex Sequencer. So what we have here is 4 sequencers in one package, each with their individual patch bay, A, B, C, D. Each has 16 steps, each has individual controls for many things. The most important of which I'm going to show you now. So the sequences are laid out in a fashion that you have 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and you have the controls in the middle and step controls here. So we start with speed. It's simply the speed that the sequencer runs on. You can, if it's not clocked externally, then you get sequence length from 1 to 16 steps. The gate length goes from a 5 millisecond trigger to 90% of the step length, and it adjusts automatically to your clock. So if you change like your clock input or your division, or you change the speed of the sequencer, you don't have to adjust the gate length, it automatically adjusts for you. There are multiple play modes, 4 of which are implemented right now and 2 of which we will probably change or keep, we don't know yet. Which is forward, reverse, ping pong, reverse, and random. And we're gonna come up with maybe 1 or 2 more, let's see. Then we have glide. Glide you can set per step and per sequencer. I'm gonna show you that later. And last but not least, we have divisions input, like the divisions knob. So if you get a clock input, you can either set the multiple or a division of that clock for that sequence to run on. Then we go down here to the section controls, where you find these 6 buttons. I'm going to start with step. So with the step function, you can simply turn steps on and off. As you can see, there's no light on these right now. So you can create nice patterns. You can like tune notes in and out, mute your sequencer, and do many other different things. Then we have the glide. You can set the glide also per step. I see this is a really nice pattern because we just got glide on every step, which is probably not what you always want to do. So you can set the glide per step and per sequencer. Then we go to SSP, which stands for sequencer start point. You can set the sequencer start point either manually by just clicking it through. So for example, let me show you. If we only have like a little 4-step sequence. Right now I'm playing these 4 steps. If I put the sequence start point to over here, it's playing me these 4 steps, now these 4 steps, now these 4 steps, and so on. So the obvious trick here is to take the output of another sequencer. I'm taking sequencer D right now, and I just put it into the sequencer start point of sequencer B, of which we just looked in. And I can see that the sequence start point is jiggling around with the CV output of the 4th sequencer. So with that I can like really easily create a much more complex pattern than I had just running before. I'm gonna take it away again. Set the sequence start point to 1. The next function is gates, where you can simply set gate output per step, can turn it on and off. The last control of the sections is repeat. Where you can set repeats. Right now there aren't any repeat sets. The way you do that right now, we are not sure yet about the interface, we'll probably change it, is that you just select the step that you want to have your repeat on. So let's look at this little 4-step sequence here again. Let's say I want to have on step 4, I want to have 6 repeats. I just press 4, it's blinking. Now, right now I'm on 1 repeat, which is basically no repeat. And I'm going to set it to 6. So now it stays 6 steps, like it repeats the step 4 6 times. And then later there will be another mode for repeat, which is sort of ratcheting mode, so it won't just repeat the step 6 times after each other, but it will repeat it like 6 times in one step. If we go up here, you can see that each sequencer has its own dedicated quantizer, which right now you can set to chromatic, major and minor. You can turn the quantizer on and off via these buttons. Below you find the output range sliders, which you can set to 5 volts, 9 volts or 2 volts. We changed it. This is still the printing from the prototype, which will relate to, if you want, 2 octaves, 5 or 9 octaves, not necessarily though. And then you have one-shot mode for each sequencer that you can turn on and off. Below that you see the master start and stop. So with stop, I just stop all sequencers. With start, I start them all at the same time so that they can run in sync if they receive the same clock signal. Below that, there's the CV recorder, which comes with 7 slots, a play and a record button, and it has its own dedicated patch bay up here. So as you can see, you get a CV input and a clock input. Why a clock input? Because when you put your CV in, you only sample when you give a trigger to the clock input. So basically it's a sample and store CV recorder. So later when you play your recorded CV back, you also give it a clock input, and you can you can play your recorded CV back either faster or slower as before, or out of sync or in sync with anything else that you can come up with. The CV recorder has 7 banks, and you can also CV bank up and bank down to like scan through the recorded CVs. Below we find the master controls, which are basically start, pause and stop for the individual sequences, like we had it before.
So I see you have MIDI in and out as well.
Exactly. The MIDI in and out is not implemented yet. Most probably what we will have as a minimum feature set is that sequencer A together with sequencer B will determine the pitch and the velocity for controlling a synthesizer, a MIDI synthesizer, and sequences C and D will most probably be like 2 assignable control changes. Like I said, it's not implemented yet, and we will gather ideas. NAMM is a good opportunity for that. We already got a few very good requests and good ideas for it. So over the next weeks, we will decide what to do with the MIDI. And I would say in the end of this demo, I will just go with you through one of the patch bays. So it starts with 2 CV outputs, where you get the CV output of the sequencer twice. Next to that, we have the gate output. Here is the clock output. The EOS is the end of sequence output, where you get a trigger each time that your sequence is finished. So if your sequence is 6 steps long, at the end of the 6th step, you get a trigger. So you could, for example, start the next sequencer in one-shot mode, or you can like create an event in your modular system, or yeah, just trigger anything with it. Next to that, we have the play mode, with which you can change the play mode of the sequencer, which was forward, rewind, ping pong, reverse, or random. Exactly, so it's basically a CV mixer together with that knob. Next to that is this is actually not the gate output, to be honest with you. This is a dead check. We didn't tell anybody yet, so we're gonna come up with a function for that. Next is the division output, where you can change the division if you clock your sequence externally from 16 notes to 4 times the length. The next check is for repeat mode, where you can switch between ratcheting and like silly repeat mode, like plain repeating. This is start of sequence out, where you get a trigger each time you get a start signal or you press the start button. This check here is the clock input, the external clock input. Here's CV input for glide amount. Here is a CV input for sequence length, so where you can change the sequence length from 1 to 16 steps. This is the sequence start point, which I showed you before. This is the number of repeats if you're on a step that has repeats enabled at the time. This is the CB4 gate length. This is the external start input. This is transpose for the quantizer. Here you can reset the sequencer, and here you skip the step that you are currently on if you receive a trigger in it. Well, yeah, that's it. That's all the features. So we created a really complex patch right now. Let's listen to it.